after he had a court order to open that account with Norwest Bank, I put his $77 million default in there and started drawing on it. And then I appointed Rod and Dan as Special United States Magistrate to handle the account. And so that we wouldn't be overdrawn, I had them both put some of their funds in there. So they put about $600 million apiece in there. And we have quite a few hundred million and a few billion to put in that account in case we ever get overdrawn. That's why I asked them how much is left. And they didn't say, so evidently they're not too worried about the audit. We put a mandamus out on them that they will audit that account. Since they didn't do it and they only have 30 days to get the job done, now we get to write checks, drafts, warrants, whatever you call it, until we deplete the account. And we have numerous new customers every day. Many, many customers. Every time that, let's say I write you a draft, a warrant, and you take it down and do what we tell you to do, and a smart-ass Postal Service employee says this is no good, then I have a new customer and you have a new customer. And I'm getting them $5 billion apiece for credit slander at this time. Okay, let's go through the packet a bit. On the flip your page, it's HERDA number 1. This is where he writes a little letter saying what happened. Then you'll see our check on HERDA number 2, $3,200. And with his little cover letter telling the people what to do. Then some more correspondence back and forth. I won't get into that too much.
Well then, that information here is just condensed and it goes on a schedule, and then every week or two or a month, it used to be a month I think at one time, and then I think it went out every 2 weeks, I think. But and that schedule goes directly to a U.S. Treasury dispersing office. And when it gets there, the U.S. Treasury dispersing office makes out a check that looks just exactly like your Social Security checks or whatever. And we had one of these made out to pay a guy's taxes here on his property here in southern Minnesota. $8,014 for taxes on his real estate, and they made that check out directly to the county treasurer in his county.
This is while he was in prison?
While he was in prison.
So today, though, what we're here for is we're concerned about the case of the People versus Aurora Ticho. And essentially, Aurora was meeting with a car salesman, and it was understood that she was paying with a private check, which implies that it's on a closed account. Because an open account is public, closed account is private. She was paying for it with a private check. They, of course, did not really understand that, but it didn't matter, because what they did understand was that she would not take delivery of the product until they received the funds. Okay? That's the key thing right there. So this is not a case of going in and stealing from somebody or writing a bad check to get something. That's not it at all. It's a special kind of check, special procedures, and the procedures have to be followed. If you don't follow the procedures, it's not going to work. So she let them know that. They agreed to that. Unbeknownst to her, they called the cops, and while they were in the middle of their negotiations, and I think she had a check partially written, the cops showed up and arrested her, charged her with 4 different charges. One of them was commercial burglary.
Now, you can only use this for public debt, not private debt, like person to person. This is only for public debt. This is only for discharging debt from a promissory note for like a bank, a mortgage company, a loan company, a car company, or something to that effect. Not for individual, private, between individuals. You can't write me a $100,000 promissory note and me get any benefit from it. That's illegal.
Start using them. Join the Association of Canadian Consumer Purchasers. Exchange $125 cash for $2,500. Would you be willing to exchange $125 cash for $2,500 on a debit card if the $2,500 could only be used for food, hydro bill, gym membership, medical, dental, repairs and improvements on your home, municipal property taxes, personal toiletries, and it came with full emergency coverage? Now what if half of that $125 we got from you every month we held on to you for you in trust, and once or twice a year you got to disperse that money to artists and volunteers of your choice who have joined the program, and we used the remainder for setup and operating cost, and the extra was set aside for no interest loans for members to buy property with. There is of course a catch. You can't buy anything which can be resold, although we will support limited clothing purchases once a year. But the following year, if you need to replace your clothes, you must donate them to charity, and you must purchase from Canadian manufacturers. You cannot use it for your business or profession or calling. It is only available to individuals for their personal consumption.
Things like that. And everyone asked me, why $5 billion? And actually there's $10 billion, because there was $5 billion in equity, then there was $5 billion in damages. So everyone on the planet, except for those that cause harm, damage to the people, everyone has $10 billion. And I set that for a very specific reason, because of what I knew was going to come down at the end of the pipeline.
EFTPOS readers. So we've set up tools and technologies so that now you can transfer credits through mobile to mobile by touching it. You can now use one of the cards to be able to swipe in any Paymark EFTPOS machine. You can also use the QR code card on the back, which you can use to tap on our own EFTPOS readers. Or let's say you left the card at home, download our mobile app, and you can now get your mobile and tap it on the screen. So at the moment, we're going to be holding business dinners right across the country to invite all the businesses on board and to explain to them how it all works.
So what we're going to do is we're going to set up escrow accounts for the gas companies, the electricity companies, the water companies, and the council tax. Yeah? So when you get your council tax bill or your electricity bill or your water bill or your gas bill, you'll be able to pay those through the escrow account and settle that bill. And when they say to you, well, you haven't paid your bill, you can say, well, yes, I have. Here's my bank statement, says so. And they're going to say, well, hang on a minute, that money's just been created out of nothing. And we're going to say, and we are going to say to them, guess what? So is yours.
There are those of you out there now who will hear people saying, oh, this weird bank thing and re-movement, it's a sham, it's a fraud, it's a Ponzi scheme, it's something designed to get £10 a month from you, and there's this rumour of a checkbook and real assets. And you don't know whether this is true or not. You have a heart feeling that you think it's true, but there's always those people who are a little bit, should we say, in the balance, indecisive, and can be rocked either way. But let me just assure everybody now, by putting this officially into the public domain in this video, that this is a genuine movement. It has good roots. It has what's called a solid ancestry and a very, very deep and powerful spiritual hierarchy that rests behind it. There are people involved in this, both on planet and off planet, to an extent that it would make your head spin if you could actually maybe comprehend it fully.
They're angry. You rob their banks, you steal their money, you live in their country. I told you this was what was going to happen, that there was no other way for it to end.